save.
All right, hang on one second. It asked me to log in again, so I don't know. Maybe. Okay, so I go to account summary. I see that. Where'd you go down to
Project view.
Yeah.
Then the City of Cambridge project.
I got you. Yeah.
And you pop up the menu, and the menu will give you the list. I already removed it, so it doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So now you want to make sure it doesn't just hit F5 here for the refresh on the navigator. Those things should disappear. The bookmark's still there. You just have to remove it.
Okay.
Yeah. So make this one the top, and make this is default. So basically, what you do is you just okay, here we go. I guess I should remove it first before I did the other way. So I think they just kind of lost it now. So
well, or if you can just update that bookmark, because I think we still want the initial view to be of the city, just without that vexel.
There we go. So you can change the name too instead of that. Just is it you want to be like what was it? You want to say home or sort of default view or something? I'll just do home.
City of Cambridge view or something. Just City of Cambridge is fine.
Okay. Yeah. That's it. And so every time you do that, you just go here, and every time you zoom in, go home, it just goes in. You're good to go. And
yeah,
that's it.
So, you know, one of the things that eventually, when we're done with our buildings, the buildings that we gave you are the, I think, were the last version. You know, now we went through that whole thing with removing the extended basements, and we hired Elliot, and for better or worse, I think it was a better thing for the data overall. Although, you know, we've sort of haven't been working with Paul Cody at all, and really haven't talked to him about anything. After we get the data from Fu, and then we're going to have a complete a data set that we're probably going to just lock down for a good year, I would say, because we're not. I don't see. You know, it would be nice to be able to update things when we find something, but pretty much that's going to be the data set. So I mean, the ones you have now are the latest that we have, I believe, and you know, and so then we have, you know, buildings and bridges, you know, so there's some easy stuff like we renaming things, and then so I, you know, I was bouncing around this entities tab just looking at it, and you know, I wanted the buildings on by default, and
sure.
Then, you know,
you want to do
terrain,
that.
to be honest with you, terrain is something that we always struggle with, just because of, you know, we find terrain to be confusing for us because we don't deal with it all the time.
Sure.
But
if you want, I can turn it on as a default view.
Yeah, or, you know, we don't have a lot of terrain in Cambridge, and so like we have this really detailed terrain just of Cambridge, and then you know, then it falls off the face of the earth, and I didn't know. And this is a question that we have for Esri sometimes too. It's like, you know, what do we want to use? Do we want to not use that detailed terrain unless we're zoomed in, or I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter for this, but I thought that the terrain would be useful for the people that are downloading the data. One of my problems is I don't know what people do on the other side. You know, we play with, you know, we use SketchUp a little. Katie's used it more than me. I'm not a big AutoCAD user. You know, I imagine that they do a lot of different things, but you know, how much do they use the terrain? How much do they use the ground plans? I know they want the buildings. You know, what is their go-to? And we don't have a great line of communication because we put everything down for download. We've lost all of our, you know, people used to like have to email us and ask for things or call me, and now I don't do that anymore. So that's one thing. Paul Cody really had a better sense of what people were doing, you know, and maybe Elliot does too, but I think Paul really, you know, he's kind of got into the weeds a little bit, but you know, Paul also has, you know, wants to have every historical, you know, doghouse in the thing.
So, the other thing that you wanted was basically changing the names, right? So same thing here.
Rename Cambridge Buildings Model ABS to Cambridge Buildings.
Right. So if you want to change it, just you have it in front of you, right? So I'll click on it and change the name right there. Go ahead and do that. to what you need to do.
Okay, so this is just right click, and so I wanted to change it to this Cambridge building. So
Yeah. And
So-
once you're done, make sure you hit the save button on the top right.
so I wanted to. Okay, so I've highlighted it. Do I right click on it, or is this?
No,
double
change
click on it?
whatever you're looking for, like Cambridge building model or whatever.
Oh,
It-
Yeah, just type in the
Cambridge
field.
Just type in in the space.
Click on it.
And you don't have to just go to the top right and hit save. You're good to go.
Okay, so it says save. Yeah.
Okay, same thing with the Cambridge Messenger Bridge active. You can change whatever you want to. Click on the same thing, like you just click
All right.
on the name here, and that's it.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Yeah, not too hard. And you said you want to remove bridges, but remember, this is just what I mean. I want to make sure I don't remove. Sometimes I put it as a placeholder just to mess around with it to make sure.
Yeah,
So-
no, if you need that, that's fine. But I just
No. I just want to make sure I turn off the right one, because then it's going to be a pain in the ass to do that. Make sure which one. Okay, that's the correct one. This is the one I don't want. This is the one with only the 2D. I think this is a 2D, if I remember correctly. It's,
Yeah, I forget. There was one that
just bring in like a outline, a 2D representation of it. In fact, if my correct is right, yeah, that was correct. So essentially, there's no model there. It was like a placeholder for me just to test them. Okay, so we're good to go. So same thing. Go to bridges, and if you don't want it, just see that little X there next to it, and you can remove the item.
okay.
And once you do that, make sure you hit the save button. This is not like a desktop where it has automatic save. This is like a browser. You need.
I got you. All right.
Okay. Yeah. I thought, oh, you wanted the first one to have both the bridges and the building. I only turned on the building. Sorry. So what I will need to do is just go to the same place, turn on the bridges.
Well, I mean, I thought if people are actually going to use it to download, they might want the bridges. Maybe they want the building. I mean, the bridges separate. I don't know. You know, I'm not sure what people are after.
Well, they can grab the bridges separately anyway. So
Yeah.
you might as
So
well
maybe just
turn
leave the
everything
building-
on the landing page.
Yeah, leave it on by default.
Yeah. So both layers, the bridges and the buildings, will be on by default in the home page.
Okay.
So Jeff, and Katie, this is, kind of where I think we should either explore the ability to make markup, pop-up windows or information windows or whatever. When you land on the page, there should be sort of an explanation legend that explains, what this is and what it does and how you can do it. And then you can click through to get instructions on how to download, or you can just go ahead and, just hide it and go ahead and go with your download activity. Like if there's an architect that already knows how to do it, he can just go ahead. So that's the kind of user interface that we want to do, because as you mentioned, there's a lot of controls here. There's really nobody telling you what those controls do. If you pull the map or the mouse over the different icons, it kind of tells you what it is, right? But again, if you limit those windows, then they only have a few choices. They might understand easier. So that's something we want to do. We don't have to do it today, but that's what we ought to do, is write an instruction. So when you go to the home page, that information comes up, or you embody it in a web page and you just write the web page around it like you do your current map, right? That's how you know how you do your current GIS, 3D GIS, ArcGIS Online maps. So anyway, you decide.
Yeah, it might be nice to have that as a splash page with the checkbox that says like, don't show me again.
Exactly.
So that way it caches and people within the same session won't see it over and over again.
Yep.
But any new user will see it. Yeah.
So it says add terrain here or in map picker. So do we have the terrain, Peter, to bring in?
terrain's already in here.
Okay, it says add. Do you have the document? Do you have the memo, Peter? It says add terrain. One of the bullet points is add terrain here or in map picker.
Well, yeah, I didn't know if it was in the map somewhere, if the people could turn the terrain on
Okay,
and off.
there we go. Yeah. You see there, Jeff?
Where? That's a map picker. Okay.
The map picker is also the terrain picker.
So
Yeah,
right
let
now,
me
by
just,
default, the Cambridge DTM is the first terrain being brought in on this particular website. I mean, this navigator site. So the
Okay.
user don't have to turn it on, but it's turned on by default.
All right. Let me just. How do I? If I click on.
Peter, you want to show them the
If I
wire?
click on the little arrow or the pyramid looking thing, then the other things come up, so I can pick up other terrains.
Oh, it's right here, the map picker.
I can even get the Shanghai terrain.
Yeah, that was that's part of the whole account thing where it's a little
Yeah.
far away, but yeah. And the
Now,
map-
if somebody wants to, if they have that terrain selected and on, when they go to download, when they try to download, will terrain be an option to download too?
That's a good question. I'm working with the guys in New Zealand right now. By default, right now we're using the terrain from Cesium. I'm trying to get your terrain to be part of the download. They're working on it right now.
Yeah. What I'd like to do is when this thing finally takes shape is to maybe, I think I know a guy that's an architect, and I don't know if he'll give me the time or not, but he's been pretty helpful in the past. He's done some big developments down on East Cambridge. And I was going to ask him if he would mind going through this. The other option is, there's a guy over in the community development department, but he hasn't been particularly helpful. But he's an AutoCAD guy, and maybe he could look through this. I'd like to look through it the lens of the person that's going to use it, and get some idea of what they're going to use. And maybe Paul's that guy too, but he just may be so bitter about me rejecting his scheme, his whole system. So.
You want to turn the buildings off, Peter, just to see what the terrain looks like? There we are.
Come on. It's a little slow right now.
Yeah, I'm also zooming on this thing. I don't know.
Yeah, see. I think you made changes.
Hey, Jeff, I just heard from Fu. She said that they started production last week.
Okay. Yeah. If you could mention to her, it's like when she sends the buildings, before she just like gets rid of all these files, if I see some buildings that are messed up, then she might want to go back with the new quantum data, and there may be stuff that, she could see that she couldn't see before. But, I'm hoping that what you told me is that she's can work her magic and get around the trees and, and see stuff from the fall Vexel imagery.
She's pretty good.
Yeah.
They have
I know
X-ray eyes.
Yeah.
I wonder if
The one thing to make also, I'm asking her to redo the bridge, and that's going to be I'll ask her again to redo the bridge. There's one bridge is where they put up a subway line that goes to Somerville, and they it's new, and then they're remodeling. Well, they're redoing the older part. It goes from where where it's called the Museum of Science, and it's down by where the Garden, where the Celtics and the Bruins play, and it goes on, and that's where they've extended this thing. So it's a work in progress. That's not it, but and so it's kind of a fluid thing, but it's such a high visibility thing that people are looking at that it would be good to just keep on redoing this until it's going to be done. It'll be done for the fall flyer will be done. I think that Katie, will the Green Line be running in the fall?
Supposedly, but I'll believe it when I see it.
It looks pretty good. Sean and I drove by there
Yeah.
on Thursday night. That thing looks pretty complete.
Yeah, they've got the station. There's a station up not too far from my house. It's pretty cool.
Yep. That will add to your rent.
Yep.
Yep. I just felt sadness.
It is what it is. Yeah.
So are you good with the color? Do you guys know how to change color on the buildings?
No, but I'd like to see that. I may, I that's something that I'd love to just play around with. Katie knows I can go in nauseum about changing color.
So here Peter is doing the color. He going back to the building tab, and then just clicking the style sheet.
Styling. So you clicked on style tile set. And then I pick one of these. Which one did you pick? Cambridge Active MP?
Then you can go in and change the color. And this case is 3D model. So if you want to customize, so what you do is you change the color. You can change whatever. Kevin, for some reason, likes green so much.
Okay. So fill color, line width. Okay, that's good to know.
And now
That's
you
good.
save.
You don't have to do it, but it's we're probably not going to pick green. But one of these. This is something that
I'll revert back to the default. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna show you exactly.
Yeah, since that's why it'd be nice. I guess if building and bridges are, we might make them separate colors and they look kind of cool. So, yeah, there it is. Is Cambridge on St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
That's easy. That's easy stuff.
Yeah, this is the Dr. Seuss green that he likes.
Yeah.
I like it a little lighter, but if you put the regular OSM map under it, it looks really nice. Like if you put the cartographic map under it, then it really gets, it doesn't get washed out. It gets really distinct. You just got to play with the lighting a little bit and do it that way. So it just matters how you want, what kind of, this is all intuitive Esri DNA stuff, right? So
yeah,
you just have to
probably for our default, we would not have the aerial photo, although I particularly like having a base map underneath the things myself, but
you can save that bookmark if you want. So if you go to your bookmark here and same view here, you zoom out and everything that shows up, you can change the base map to whatever you want to go with. So essentially, if you like
on that particular map, sometimes like a lighter blue looks really nice. It just matters. But it's distinct if you don't have the ortho below, because it washes everything out visually.
Yeah.
And here I think you're looking for buildings, but sometimes like an architect, they want to look for a landmark. I think it's more important for them to type in the address, right? And go, okay, this is where I need to be. So the search engine is up there somewhere. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. There's an hourglass, not an hourglass, what you call it, Sherlock Holmes. That.
Before we go to that, I just have a question. If you can go back to the styling window, please. What's the difference between, and go to the drop down list where it says Cambridge Building Active MP, not that, back one window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Why are there 3 #Cambridge?
Oh, one's a bridge.
Oh, that's one of the layers we removed, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, but if you think it's too many you can actually go ahead and do the styling here and remove all the redundant that's not being used. This is a little trick here. So when you click on it, it's called purging. So anything that's right now in a relation that are no style. So if you go back again and say style, I want to purge, those are not used. So actually it automatically goes through and figure out these are the 2 that currently has no association with any kind of layers right now. So you can just purge it. And essentially
when you deleted that bridge layer, it stays in the admin side?
What do you mean? The bridge?
In the visualization, you deleted that 2D layer, didn't you? You deleted a
Oh,
2D
yeah, I have it.
bridge layer.
The thing is, yeah.
But that stays
Oh,
in these
no.
entities in the admin panel?
Jeff was supposed to remove it. I don't think he saved, even though he said he deleted it. Correct?
I
Am
say, do I have to do a second save?
There's a save button right on top right.
Yeah, that's what
I think I still see it
I did it, man. Obviously, I screwed it up.
there. So basically, as you highlight it, there's a little red button here. And once you hit the red button, you make sure you hit save here.
I thought I did, but maybe I didn't.
Yeah. So if you did right now, I should be able to see it disappear right now. Nope, still there. Maybe I should need to refresh it. Because you should have, nope, you're still there, Jeff. You didn't remove it.
This is the extra bridge, right?
Yeah, this is right here.
All right.
The red
go
app.
to project views, gotta go back.
Yeah, project view, menu, and click on it, menu, then the bridge should come up. Then you can hit the red app.
I clicked on the red, the red X.
Yeah, and then hit save on the right-hand side. Right here.
I just did.
Okay, so there we go. Now you saved it. So now it shouldn't show up here anymore.
Oh, well, I could have sworn I'd done that, but oh well.
It happens. Trust me. I've done it a couple times. I remember. So now the thing is completely missing now. There we go.
Good.
Yep. It's gone now. So the other thing is your parcel data. I believe we have it in the entity layers. Let me make sure I am. So these are data parcel I grabbed from your website, DGIS layer, a while ago. I don't know exactly how far back it goes. I think it's 2019 based on what I've been grabbing. So how much update has been done since then?
Yeah, it would have had at least one more. I think it's probably a year old at this point, you know. So so there's a little bit of change. But
Do
I
you
mean,
want to bring in, Jeff? Do you want to bring in parcel layers or any other layers in this right now?
Yeah, well, maybe just for the exercise, just bring in those parcel layers and show me how
Sure.
to.
Okay.
how to
Yeah.
remove that, you know?
Yeah. Show me your screen. It's easier because then I can walk you through how to do a so-called update.
I'm on two different machines. I'm not
okay.
on. I'm not.
Can you direct me to your Cambridge?
CambridgeMA.gov/GIS.
Okay. Yeah. I was just gonna see you and tell me right here.
Maybe yes. Yes, I think so.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Data download.
No, from
Yeah,
here,
good.
click GIS data dictionary in the center.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. And which one?
Assessing.
Assessing, like third one down. And then fiscal year 21, and then there's just the parcels here, just so the.
Particular one? Or
Yep, that one.
okay. So do you have GeoJSON?
We do it. It's in a different place though.
Oh, okay. It's faster for me to use that one.
Okay, then go get back. Just kind of hit the back button a couple times and go back to the front screen, or go to GIS data now. Up in the top bar there, fourth one over. Yes, and then hit the GitHub data site, and then just scroll on down until it says I think it says assessing, and then there's the parcels there.
Okay. Just download.
Yeah.
Okay. This is where it's annoying. This is why I need. Sometimes I need to save the file as. That's the thing annoying about that. Is,
Hey, Katie, do you have
Yes.
Blender?
No, we're not using Blender.
Okay.
I have experimented with it in the past, but we're not using it. I was wondering, is there a way to set up any sort of live data connection to that GeoJSON file?
Yeah, there's a way to do it. It's just have to figure out which are the database that we are going to tie in with. And that's probably something I need to talk to those guys in New Zealand, how to set up that protocol between the back and forth. GitHub is pretty straightforward. I think we have the basic infrastructure behind it. We just have to target exactly which part of the here, this little hyperlink here that has point to this particular GeoJSON file. So I'm probably
that'd be great, 'cause we update some of these layers every month, like the buildings layer or the address points. Those get updated monthly.
Okay. I'll talk with those guys and see what are the steps required just to kind of set up this kind of back and forth for GitHub. Okay, so now we have the file so we can import. Now we're going to just show in folder where is the GeoJSON file. So just simple as just drag it in here. There we go. This is an example of what the file is going to be bringing. It's more than one file. So this is the annoying part because they don't see. That's come on, more there. Okay. So I'm telling them to kind of automatically resize. Sometimes they don't do that, so you got to do it in a browser. So it's a little bit wonky right now. So all these files with their attribute fields and everything will be brought in as is. So you can hit continue, and since we're going to new entity type, so it's parcel. Let's see here, plus. Okay, here we go. Where is it? There we go.
Are you replacing that existing parcel? Is that what you're doing, like overwriting it?
I can do that, or I can do an update. It's right now, I think it's easier for me just to override it, isn't it? Because you already have a new one, or is it a Delta? The updated version, is it always Delta or is it a complete version?
Oh no, it's complete. They're both complete.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that there's no point keeping the old version, because I'm basically creating a brand new one on it, because you updated each field anyway, even if it's old one.
Yeah, the fields don't change unless we have a big, well, did they? No, I don't think they changed for the parcels. We had a big change last year, but.
So you don't publish Delta, you only publish a brand new one with the updated version, right? So you don't have any difference, yeah?
Yeah, we swap it out once a year. Parcels are different than the rest of our data because that we have like a production data set, and then once a year they put out a property database, and then we load our stuff on.
Let me do this. Instead of having a year kind of stamp in it, let me do this. Let's do a new, just called parcel, because this is your database. It doesn't matter what year. So every time we bring in a new one, it just overwrite the old one. Because what we're going to do is, we can do a few ways we can do about this. We can do a Delta every time we do an update, which is easier to do, because we just want parcel. We don't want a specific what year. That's kind of misleading, because once they start looking at a year, they kind of say, oh, this is 2019 only. I'd rather keep a thing called parcel or Cambridge parcel and just keep update and keep coming out with it. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what we do on ArcGIS Online. We have a parcel layer, and then we also have the fiscal years as well.
Yeah.
So at any point in time, you can go and look at, like, if you go back to our data dictionary, we have all the past fiscal years listed.
Yeah.
But for mapping purposes, we're always pointing to just a general parcel layer.
Right.
And that gets updated.
What most of your general public want anyway. They don't want any retro kind of backdated ones, right? Unless they have to come to you specifically looking for a particular year or something that they want to do, like a look back on the parcel size and information. Do you want it to be on this site? Because then it's caused a lot of confusion, because now you got to create multiple layers and have them turn it on and off and be able to kind of query it retroactively. I mean, do you want to go down that route, or is it too much of a?
No, I think we should have one generic parcel layer that gets
I agree with
updated.
For this audience that's going to use this, they just want to see what's the latest, and we're not going to get in production, but we'll give them the latest one.
Yeah. So I'll keep one called Cambridge Parcel, and that's it. No years, no nothing. So just always be the latest update version. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and now, so it's just kind of walk through the fields and map all the different fields. So are these the total number of fields off the top of your head? Can you remember? It will be a 1-to-1 match, unless you think that's missing.
I am looking at that. It's a small screen. So,
Trying to make it as big as possible here. Oh, shoot, the other way.
yeah. Oh,
I think from the jurisdiction file, it should be all of it, because it usually extract everything that's part of it.
I think it's okay. I think that, ML is the key one that people can join onto the assessing database. It's fine. The loc ID is like an ID that we use for it's just a coordinate pair.
Right.
So there's not a lot in there. So basically, as long as if somebody wants to join with other data, they can.
Yeah. So because you could, in the end, when he comes back in later, you want another field or another database that you want. There's a way of doing it. It's called doing a foreign key. Essentially, it becomes the indexing key. Right now, you don't need it, but if you want to bring another database and use the ML as a key, you can merge it and use that as an indexing. So once you have that as a reference key, you'll merge any data set that contains this key and merge it with the parcel if you want to go down the route next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So so next, and so continue. So it shouldn't. How many rows? About 100,000.
I don't think so.
I can guess from here. 9,000. Yeah, it's probably less than that. Okay.
Like 25,000, 23 or something.
Yeah. It should be pretty quick, like 5-10 minutes, and it's okay.
So I don't know what other people would want. Again, I'm trying to figure out what the users would want, and I guess we'll just kind of figure it out as we go. And maybe if we can get some feedback, then maybe they want something like, let's say, pavement markings, or or some kind of edge of pavement. I don't know. So we'll see. But parcels is helpful. People have from my past experience, that's the one layer they've asked for. That when they're putting the buildings.
Hey Jeff, architects, they always ask me for street center lines. That's always that's what an architect always asks for. If we have curbs, they're even happier. If curbs are there, that's great. But street center lines and curbs, because that's, when they put their models in, they need to know that stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, but we saw how you got it in there, so I may try it, or just give you a list and maybe have you try. If I can't, we can't get it in there.
Either way, I mean, I can sit over your shoulder and do it 1 or 2 times. Then once you're comfortable with it, then let you go, start roaming the field. and like I said, I'm here. You encounter any weird side effect, like some data didn't come in as you predicted it would look like, give me a call. Then we can sit down and go through and see what happens. I mean, I'm more than happy.
But before we go through and add too many layers manually, I want to answer that question as to whether or not we can set up some sort of federation to our GitHub site.
Yeah, let me talk to those guys in New Zealand how to do that and start seeing.
Because sometimes the load process might be different than like a one-off load versus a federated type load. So
correct. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes if they don't kind of do that before you start doing a one-off, it doesn't always end up syncing up. I agree with you on that one. So yeah, let me set up a time with those guys and with the engineer, and we can kind of do a quick session and say, how do we set up a GitHub and talk to the files that you already have, and see maybe we can do a dry run on one of the files and see how outcome is.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that. Making a note of that. And let's see, it should be pretty fast. Yeah, it's already halfway done. So In the meantime, if you can look at it at the same time when it's loading. I mean, sure how to go about doing that. So you can do entities and let's see, Cambridge parcel, and you can just live feed. So as you go along, so this is raw data. Okay, and that's the schema that basically contains all the information. And if you want to curious where the location of that particular parcel, you can even do a query look on the map. There we go.
If you go back to that entity types list,
Sure.
is there a way to see when that layer was last updated? I mean, right now you're looking at, if you go back a level, I don't want to look at a specific entity. I want to look at the data layer.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, go back to entity types so that we're looking at the whole layer, not just not just one feature.
Okay.
Yeah, so like if you click on buildings up at the, or I'm just curious, like when did buildings get loaded into this system? So if I click on building, so how can I, or Cambridge address points, how do I know?
That's where I enter it. So basically, if you look at where my name comes in this case, it might be your name, see, and there's a date and time stamp right here. And remember, this is New Zealand time. Be careful. It's not your local time, so you got to be careful about that. You can see here, look at the time. It's like 21. It's almost midnight.
Yeah, but like we did address points. That's another one that's changed. You know, 2D buildings and address points, they change often. But yeah, ultimately it'd be great if we, you know, one of our goals is to be able to update the model on a, you know, when we get a new building, then you know, often when we get a new building, it's the hot building everyone's looking at. And we want to bring it in, and then we want to be able to get it on there. So
yeah, and you would use this particular ID as the point of update, right? As a reference indexing. Am I correct? ML.
Yeah,
so that's your index. So essentially, if it's updated on GitHub, when we talk to that database, we're using the ML as an indexing. And so anytime there's an update, we will search first the date when it's updated and just grab whatever's the newest and use the index for ML as the way to update whatever is sitting in Bruce, rather than updating the whole data set. Am I correct in that assumption?
I mean, you can update, in my opinion, you can update the whole data set. That's how we do it on our other open data endpoints.
Okay. That's a good question. I might ask those guys, is it more efficient to do one off, or is it better to do the whole update? Because it's all about Amazon's kind of resource cost. If it's like cheaper just to do the whole update, they might just do it. If it's more efficient, because right now you're saying only you have about 25,000, 26,000. I mean, we have a client that basically has about 27 million records. So that was one of the things they were talking about, whether we are better off doing the delta or basically just updating the whole data set. If it's like 27 million, they say, yeah, it's better off to do the delta. So, but if it's like in your case, the whole data set is only like 50 to 60,000, then it's better off to just do update one shot and just go.
Is it possible to change that name? That column is called date time. But if you scroll over to the right in that data layer, then eventually you'll find an edit date or a creation date and a last edited date. And that's the last edit date for the data itself. Whereas if you scroll all the way back to the beginning of the table, that date time is the cesium or next space.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
so exactly. Can we change that date time column header to read something like cesium load, or like, I don't know, something that
like the load time? How about that?
Yeah, something like that, so that folks know that that's the timestamp that it went into your system. It's not the timestamp that we in the city of Cambridge edited our data.
This thing is not exposed to the public. I'll show you the reason why.
Oh, okay. That's just for us in the back end.
Yes,
okay, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
No. I mean, I totally understand where the confusion comes in. Yeah, it's not exposed to the public at all. So you can see there's no state time for them at all. Even if you do more, there's no date. The only date is this one.
Okay.
No, I
I
totally
see.
with you, Katie, on that confusion. Yeah, oh, I want to confuse the customer or the
Yeah, I don't want them to think we changed all of our buildings at
No,
the same date or something.
exactly,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Yeah,
Awesome.
totally.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, we're done. So essentially, that's 12,981 entry. And I hope that's on the right track.
You know what? I think that I'm thinking of address points, and I said 20 something, 20,000. You know, so or maybe it's buildings. There's a building, so I haven't counted it, but that's not. That does sound right now that you say that.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, it'll just give you a kind of reaffirmation that the data brought in is exactly what you're looking for. So if it doesn't sync up or doesn't line up next time we do a one-off again, you can say, oh, something during the import kind of crash or something wasn't right, or the file of the GeoJSON, which I don't think is not going to be bad at all. So you should be able to figure this out. So in the end, there's a total number entry that basically you can just kind of do a refresh again and say Cambridge parcel apply. So it should be every entry point there. Okay, 20. The last page is about there, and I think that's it. Okay, now we can turn it on here as a layer if you guys want to see it. Let me show you. Yeah. So one more menu, so we can add. Tell me if I'm going too fast. You just tell me to stop. So once you have the name, it's a Bruce entity, and it's a polygon. So select Cambridge.
Do you want to call it parcel or parcels?
Parcels. Yes.
Yeah. So show and tag, we don't care. So it's a geometry, and this is where your styling comes in. What is the preferential color for the polygon?
Yeah, maybe my preference would be nothing, just outlines.
Just an outline?
Yeah, we do hollow interior and like a black. Generally, we're doing like a black outline.
Black outline, okay. So the line will be black, super black, and a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
And make it 4. Otherwise, you're gonna blend in with the rest of the color.
Pretty thick.
Yeah, well,
we'll see how it looks.
See how it looks like. That's fine.
Turn off the buildings too.
First time when it loads, it takes a little chugging. There we go.
So just go to the regular OSM map, Peter, so they can see the outlines and won't get buried into the, or like he calls it.
And you want that on by default.
Oh, you want it by default now?
No, I don't.
The photography map?
The parcels.
Oh, the parcel by default. Okay.
No, I don't want the parcels on by default.
Okay. It's not going to be on because, as you can see, only a 3D building and the bridges will be on.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit to load it first time. Once you load it first time, next time when it comes along, it's one of those things. When you cache it into your account, it will always come up.
The experience for every user, though.
The first time, every user the first time will do that, unfortunately. And depends on your bandwidth.
Quite unfortunate.
I know. Yeah, when it's browser based, that's always the problem when they just kind of load all the data coming in at the same time.
So
do you do any sort of throttling on it, like where you only load the parcels that are visible in the viewpoint, or only load like 1,000 features until the user zooms in more? Anything like that?
Yeah, we can do that. But like I said, I mean, it all depends on how much of the throttling you want to do. We can talk to those guys. Those guys are dealing a lot of vectors data right now, so they can have a few ways of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a user right now and I was waiting for this thing to load, I would be pretty over it.
No kidding. Yeah.
I'd be like, cool, maybe I don't want this data. Bye. But I think we all expect things to be so instantaneous.
I know, I hear you.
Yeah.
So this thing might be much better. Let's see this time around. There we go.
That helped. Yeah.
So let me see. Try this time. See if it can come out faster this time.
Well, now you'll have some of it cached.
Yeah, but then the cache will be so much faster now. Okay, turn this off, turn that off, and this one will be.
And what setting did you change?
It's called a CDN cache. Essentially, it tries to kind of force close proximity and give it some sort of like try to minimize the amount of in your memory card. You see, a little bit.
And that's set on each individual layer?
Yes, each individual layer. You can manipulate it either as a geometry, a vector, or a 3D model. The 3D model is a little bit more kind of nuanced because they basically is trying to cache into your graphic card, which is a little bit more, yeah. So this is slightly better. Now it's better. I've got to talk to those guys and see how can I force it to go a little faster than this.
You might want to reduce the thickness too from 4 to 3. Probably
that's what causing it.
I don't know. It might help. I noticed when I was doing that, playing around with the thickness, it changed it.
You guys think it's too thick or is it okay?
I'm just concerned about the load time.
Yeah, I know.
I don't care about the thickness of the line right now, but I think just from a user experience standpoint, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, this is the point of view of everything within the iPoint. So the other one will come in the rest coming in. Yeah, this is a little too thick, I think. So that's 2, 3, 3. Maybe it should do that. Fine. Okay, try one more time here.
It's funny how the parcels load slower than the buildings.
Yeah, because that's the next thing. They want to do the tiling for the building to the vector data, and that's the part that I'm trying to see.
Yeah, that's like a parcel bomb going off.
Yeah, I know. They like to do the circular.
Do you work with vector layers
For
for 2D data?
Mostly for 2D data. This is the way they bring it in.
Because we are publishing our CDD, our citywide base map as a vector base map. So all of our 2D layers will be in a vector format. It is an Esri format, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps.
I know. We're trying to tile it. Let me see if I have to talk to these guys about tiling because I don't know.
I think at this point we're going to take the parcels out because that's going to right until we figure this out. I mean, at least off by default, so they don't have to load for the user because that's just that's the bang for the buck's not there.
Okay. I'll talk to those guys how to increase the vector because I think they're working on a faster way of doing the tiling for vector data.
Can you do me Peter, can you zoom in on an area, like getting closer, just somewhere close, even closer than that, a little bit closer. Okay, like there. Now refresh it and see how quickly it loads and fills the window. Follow me? Okay. I mean, maybe we can do a sleight of hand and set it up in such a way that
It's already done.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to ask before, if it loads like just your viewport.
Yeah, it does. It's viewport. I maybe I got ambitions trying to load everything at one go.
I mean, why don't we just, if you want to show the parcels, just do it in a viewport that's instantaneous, so people don't get frustrated. And if they move over, it'll load instantaneously again. When they move over, it'll load fast again as well. So if they do a search of the address, they won't have a problem.
Do you have the ability to set
of doing it. You know what I mean? Just to make the experience better.
Yeah. Can you set a zoom level on the layer itself so that it only, it doesn't draw if you go out beyond a certain.
Close. Yeah. It's called right here. It's called the maximum layer.
Oh, the min and max. Okay, cool. I can play with
So
it.
right now is
Do it for like 500, Peter. That's 50,000. That's like way too. That's way up there.
5,000.
That's 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's still pretty high.
We'll find out.
Where are you now? You hit the little eye, and you can see how high you are, where the camera is. Where are you there? Were you 27,000 feet?
No, 2,700.
2,700. See, I'm saying if you go to like that height or even 2,000, that's fine. It just loads fast, and you're in it now, and you can see that the parcels are there.
Yeah, that's what we do with our address points and the parcels as well. We don't show them until you get into like zoom level of 1,000.
No, I agree. I mean, I totally. Yeah, sure.
Just make it zoom at like 2,500 or 2,000, and then it'll just only turn on when you go to it. There, 3. It's fine.
And with the download option, do the data layers have to be turned on and visible in order for the user to download them?
Yes, it has to be on. Otherwise, it doesn't know what is being selected.
Okay.
Yeah, because then you have so many layers, and if it's in the background, it's almost impossible to kind of auto detect which layer you're referencing. So it's better off to turn it on. So when they select here in the select tool right here, you're grabbing.
But was there a checkbox? I can't remember if there was a checkbox in the download window that said I want to download buildings and whatever.
So this is only picking the parcel.
Okay. Okay.
So let me get rid of it, then I'll turn on the buildings. And now when you do the select, we'll select. Okay. Come on. I know. Hold on. Is it tile? Yeah, it should be tile. Come on. Yeah, it's just kind of pulling into the buffer right now. Trying to figure out what are the layers that you need. Yeah. Oh, there we go. So that is the Cambridge, and that's the building at the bottom. So GIS layer, 3D models. GIS layer, and the models. I hope that makes sense. You don't have to select. The only time you want to select is you want to select only certain buildings in your so-called area of interest. But if you're not, you can just kind of hit, it'll export anything with the 2 layers. See, there's a checkbox is when you select back there certain things that you only want to download. If you just wanted to select and download everything, just leave it alone and just go to the, don't hit the checkbox. It's always off.
Okay.
Yeah. I know we need to give you at least a help menu on the left-hand side or right-hand side on the screen where the person can actually understand what it means, the sequence. The sequence is a little bit non-intuitive. No, I agree with you. We need to work on it. Okay, I think I'll check with those guys about the paging in of the models. Yeah, too much in the buffer. I kind of push it a little bit too hard. There we go. Oops, there was a delay effect. Okay, that's for the GIS layer. You got something about turning off all the buttons. This is where you can turn it off. If it's too much, too many stuff, which one do you want to turn it off?
Okay, cool. All right, so this is good. This is something that we can customize,
Yes.
you know. So when we're customizing the site, can we have more than one site? Let's just say for this, we don't want all these tools on, but we may want them on for something else. I mean,
Yes.
we have one account and one account only.
No, you have multiple projects. Don't think of account as
Okay. So this is specific to the project, the project City of Cambridge, and we can
Yes.
make multiple.
You can make multiple projects based on the same amount, same type of data type that you already have. Remember, your account allow you to access all these data layers. You are only restricted by the number of projects you can create. But the problem is there is no limit. Unfortunately, you can create as many variations of this project as you can, based on menu items, based on the tools, based on the users that you want to allow them to use. So for example, if you have internal users that you want to expose everything, you can have him use this project view. But if you have another user in the organization that you only want him to use the download tool, you create an account for like Tom that only have the menu item for tools to download and everything turned off. Only this thing is turned on, everything is turned off. So it's all like a bare minimum, nothing showing, just a tool here, select download and move on. So there's a lot of variation of different accounts you can set up based on either the user level or the project that you want to set up. So it's really up to you. We can do one test account next time when you do have a customer and let me know what is the limitation you want to set on him. For example, he can only do, he doesn't have free draw. He doesn't have line and everything around here. You don't want him to see anything at all. What you do is just turn on things that you want him to see and then go from there. You can even have him only have the access to the navigation and not the backend. Right now, you and Katie are the admin.
Okay.
Katie, you are the admin. So is Jeff. You guys can get as many users, as many projects as you can think of.
Okay.
Can you copy an existing project? Like if I wanted to create a Cambridge template
Right there.
with certain settings? Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so Jeff, if you want to create a project where, like this guy, remember the guy I was talking to that has all those scans? He did all those laser scans of buildings in Cambridge and he wanted to show them off. He wanted to show them to people. And, you know, if you have like a special project where you say, well, let's just take a look at it, we can bring all that data in and set up a new project and just call it, you know, landmarks or historical properties or high resolution images or whatever. And you can always, you know, just have extra projects, but the only one you publish is, you know, the one you call public download site.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as long, I guess my take is, as if you come across a project that you have some question on, like give me a call, then we can sit down and go through what exactly you want to set up in the account. Then we can customize it. And even the users, you can create user groups that is only accessible to certain projects that you want. For example, architect. But remember too, you guys wanted to track who's using it. This is one way of doing it, because in the beginning here, when we first bring it, it's like, where's the dashboard? You can track users. How many entities being downloaded, how many views being used, and goes on and on and on. So essentially, you can track the areas of download that's being done on your website.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch of other things in here, but we've spent a lot of time already. So, you know, I don't want to, so, I mean, being able to just learning to be able to turn things on and off and bring stuff in is, you know, that's pretty key. How far do you want to keep going?
After you.
I have a 5:30 meeting. I can try to move
Okay.
it.
Why don't we take a break here and let's play around with it, and then we're going to come back and maybe we'll answer some of our other questions that I have,
Yeah.
and then I'll make a new list of
Right.
because there was a lot of stuff in here, but there's a lot to chew on right there and to play around with. So I'd like to
And
do
remember too, Jeff, you still have to bring in your brand new imagery. I haven't talked about that yet. How
Yeah.
we get raster mosaic, and hopefully they do a color balancing app for you for the imagery, so it doesn't look all washed out or too oversaturated and things like that.
Oh, the vector, the quantum spatial stuff looks great. So
Okay,
we got
perfect. Yeah, as long as I get a green
I'm not
from you,
gonna
that's
use
all.
I was going to use the Vexcel imagery, but I've decided not to because I think that quantum is a spring flight and it's better for what we're trying to use. So we didn't know we had that last time. So.
Yeah. So.
Hey Jeff,
Okay. Yeah.
Jeff, if you get stuck, just ping Peter and I, and one of us will be around, and then we'll just call you, share the screen, and we'll show you what to do. Because what happens is even I forget how to bring in data sometimes, because it's like I've said, the back end administration, it's okay to be a little bit complicated, but the front end needs to be simpler and more intuitive. So, especially you, Katie, if you have any criticisms, please share them. You will not offend us. We want to try to drive the user interface. This is the summer of the user interface for Bruce. So let us know what we can do to make it easier, to make it more intuitive, so it can have a public face.
Okay.
All right. Hey,
Okay, thank you.
thanks so much. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your time. We're around. Let me know when you want to do a follow-on session, Jeff and Katie.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for this. So
Okay, I recorded this, so I'll send you the recording. I doubt if you want to watch it again, but I did record it.
Well, that might be good to be able to go back and hit the couple spots that we get stuck on.
Exactly.
That's
Okay. See ya.
great. One or
Thanks,
the
guys.
other.
Okay. Yeah.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Kate.